Shaun, they don't call him the battler from Hastings for nothing, and you recovered really well in that match because he had you under it yesterday and you were out of sorts.
Yeah, big time. There was a moment sort of after the interval where I was all at sea and I was there for the taking, to be honest, and I'm not really sure how, but I stole, I think it was the 7th frame from nowhere. Although I lost the 8th frame straight after it, the 7th frame, winning it in the way I did, kind of gave me the catalyst to go on to bigger and better things and to finish the session with a century and to only be one behind overnight, where really I was by a long way second best yesterday. Gave me the impetus to have a good night's sleep, felt quite good about things coming into today, optimistic rather than pessimistic, which I've probably been all season, and enjoyed it.
I commentated on the match yesterday and I could just see your body language changing as you were notching up that century. It was a massive moment in the match, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's, it's well seen by you, to see that, because they're the kind of hidden battles that are going on out there on that stage and around the world where we play. But here more than anywhere, when that barrier lifts up and you kind of got the arena to yourself, having been the distance here and won and played well here, that puts you stand a bit taller when the screen lifts, and that played right into my hands. If the match could have carried on yesterday, I'd have fancied rolling Mark there 10-5, 10-6, because I really got a head up of steam and probably didn't want the game to stop, if I'm honest.
You've had a tough season, not so much what's happened on the table, but it's been really hard for you to get home consistently to Ireland, to your wife and the children. How helpful do you think it was, in a strange kind of way, that we didn't see you at the Players' Championship and the Tour Championship? Do you arrive here having had a decent spell of time at home, and do you feel a little bit mentally revitalised from that?
Not really, no. I watched those events devastated. I was reserve. I was the first reserve at the Players' Championship, number 17 on the list, and had to wait 4 or 5 days in the hotel, tested and quarantined, whilst I watched everyone else play a tournament I was in last year as, the number 2 seed. So, yeah, it was tough. Took no solace from it at all. And sort of beat myself up a little bit about it, made myself watch every ball, was pretty moody around the house. I would have been terrible company, and I think my wife was pleased to see the back of me, frankly.
Well, let's focus on this next match then. This is a great one from a neutral's point of view, because I can remember you coming in here and speaking very highly of Yan Bingtao after you'd beaten him on his debut, because he came back in that match and he made you work for that victory. And I think it was obvious to you then that he had the mental fortitude for the biggest stages of all, something he proved brilliantly, winning the Masters in January.
We all thought it about him when he came over as a young man, and now he's proved it. And, he's got 1 out of the 3 of the Triple Crown. I thought it was a shame. There's been a few detractors of his over the last few months. Would he have won it at the Ali Pali with, 3,000 screaming Londoners in there and all the things that go with that? Who knows? But he's the one who's got the Waterford Crystal Paul Hunter Trophy at his house. So, he's the one with the trophy, and I don't think he cares about any of that. It's fully deserved. He is a very, very good, strong player, and someone who's only going to go from strength to strength. In terms of our match, we've played here before, as you mentioned. We've had a couple of good games since, and I think this one's going to be their best one yet.
When we saw the draw last week, there were a couple of absolute hand grenades, most notably Stuart Bingham, and that was a 50-50 match between himself and Ding. But are you surprised that more seeds haven't been knocked out in the first round this year?
Well, I think one of the small elements that people might overlook just slightly is the fact that there is a crowd there. And that's generally, the way our ranking system works over a 2-year point system. Those guys have earned that right because they're better at performing in front of a live audience than the lower ranked players, and that's no disrespect to anyone, that's the truth. And so when you walk out here, when you give it the big introduction and we get excited and we're stood backstage watching people go out in front of you, it's like watching people jump out of a plane. And you go in there, it's my turn next, I don't want to go, I'm sure, and you have to walk out. That sorts the men from the boys. And I'm not really surprised that those lads that are more used to it have so far flourished.
Betfred, proud sponsor of the World Snooker Championship.